Rajeshwari MG. She pursued her BE in Electrical and Electronics at the People's Education Society College of Engineering, Mandya. She pursued her MTech in VLSI Design and Embedded Systems at the Sri Jagadguru Balagangadharanta Institute of Technology, Bangalore. Her personal skills lie in good verbal and written communication skills. Her areas of interest lie in OOPS with C++, renewable energy sources, HVDC transmission, digital relays, automotive electronics, advances in VLSI design. She has also had papers presented at the national level, such as the Innovative Architecture for SoC Multi-Core Hybrid Processor, presented at the RNSIT, Bangalore.
Welcome to UGC lecture series of BSc Physics Honours. In this session, we are going to deal with the subject electromagnetic theory. So, let us start with the basic concepts of electromagnetic theory in this session. The very first section that we are going to cover is Maxwell's equations. So, for studying Maxwell's equations, we need some basic knowledge. That is, in this session, we are going to study about electric charge and field basics, and also current. We need to study about what is current, and also magnetic field, and also electromagnetic waves. We are going to study about the properties and what does electromagnetic wave means. And at the last, we are going to discuss about vector and scalar. So, let us start with the basic concept of electric charge and field. So, this is important as points that we need to carry out throughout this syllabus, because this will be helpful for a better understanding about the electromagnetic waves nature. So, the fundamental charges are carried by electrons, that is, we know that the charge will be consist of two, that is electrons and so protons. Electrons will be always negative in sign, and protons be always in positive in sign. The charge on the electron is always measured in coulombs, and it is equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. The negative sign indicates the sign of electron, and it is measured in coulombs. So, next, the charge on the proton is always equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, and it is also measured in coulomb, and the positive sign indicates it is proton. So, charge in the sense we need to consider the electron as well as a proton. So, the proton will be having a positive charge and the electron will be having negative, but the mass of both the thing, the coulombs of both will be the same, the quantity will be same, that is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 will be the value for both proton and as well as electron. And also we have to know the property of the charge, that is like charges, like charges will always repel each other, and unlike charge or opposite charges are attracts each other. And also we need to know about the electric field. The electric field is mainly says that it is a nature or ability that to exert electric force on other charge is represented by electric field of the charge. So, that a charge will be having some ability to exert some force on other charge, that is called as electric field. And also the direction of the electric field is the same as the direction of the electric force that would be exerted on a positive charge when placed in the electric field. So, that is what we observe from the picture, that is a positive charge where we are observing the electric force is nothing but the electric field that is always away from a positive charge. If we consider a positive charge, that is a proton, the electric field force that is exerted by this type of charge is always away from a positive charge, and whereas in negative type of charge it is towards the negative charge. The electric field or electric force will be always towards the negative charge. Next, we need to know this things, the basic thing that we need to carry forward, that is the charge will be having a 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs, and in minus sign indicates for electron and plus sign indicates for proton, and E which is called as elemental charge, and it is always called as E is called as elemental charge, because wherever we represent E or else we can also represent Q for an elemental charge, because for deriving equations and all we always consider this elemental charge as a reference. So, E or Q from now onwards it always represent, that is elemental charge, and it is equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulombs. Next we move on to current and magnetic field. So, current we know that it is a flow of charge or flow of electrons or protons, that is moving charge is also called as current. So, moving charge have the ability to exert a second type of force on other moving charges. Now, electric force will be there when we are going to speak about stationary charge also. When the charge is moving, then also there will be the ability will be there for a such moving charge to exert force or on another or a second type of charge. So, that is called as a magnetic force. Whenever the moving charge exerts a type of force on second type of charge is called as magnetic force, and this ability to exert magnetic forces on other charges is represented by the magnetic field of the current. So, the moving charge is constitutes a current. So, whenever the current is flowing in a conductor, we can say that there will be a magnetic field around it, because the ability of a moving charge will always have a ability to exert force on second type of charge, that is called as magnetic field or also magnetic force or field, which will be very important. Whenever the current is there, we can assume that the magnetic field will be present around the conductor. Next, we need to know about the electromagnetic wave basics, because so far we discussed about electric field and as well as magnetic field. So, now the combination of this knowledge will give us to understand the electromagnetic wave nature. So, if a charge is made to jiggle or oscillate, it will produce a varying electric field. So, the varying electric field will be produced when a charge is moved, that is in such a way that it is accelerated with some force. Whenever the force is exerted on a charge, it will move in such a direction. This will going to help to produce a varying electric field. So, if the charge oscillates with a regular period, if the oscillations will be there in such a way that if it is in a regular period, it will produce an oscillating electric field with all the characteristics of a wave. So, this we have to understand that a charge will be having a oscillation if it is exerted by a force. When it is moving in such a way that it is moving in a regular period, so then it will going to produce an oscillation that will be produces a wave like nature for a charge. So, this can be studied with this picture. We can observe the charge. If it is oscillated like this, if it is moved like this up and down, it will going to produce an oscillation. So, the oscillation will be in this form, it is going to produce like a wave if it is having a regular period. So, it is moving in this direction, we can say. If it is moving in this direction, the charge, if it is moving in this direction, we can observe the wave like nature by a charge. The electric field will be produced, that will be of wave like nature. So, from this knowledge, that is wave like nature of a charge, we can the two scientists come up with the two laws, that is Faraday's law and Maxwell's proposal. So, the Faraday's law is a basic law that is carried forward, and Maxwell's proposed another law based on this Faraday's law. The Faraday's law states that a changing magnetic field will create an electric field. So, whenever the magnetic field is changed, the electric field will be produced, is what Faraday says, Faraday's law says, and the direction of the electric field will be perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field. So, this is always true, and this is what both of them is proposed, that is changing magnetic field will create an electric field, and the direction of electric field and as well as magnetic field is always perpendicular to each other. And when it comes to Maxwell proposal, that it is quite different, that is a changing electric field will create a magnetic field, is what the different concept that is come up with the Maxwell's proposal. Based on the Faraday's law only, it is proposed by Maxwell's, that is a changing electric field will also create a magnetic field. So far before Maxwell's proposal, it was believed that only by changing magnetic field that we can get electric field, but when the Maxwell's proposed a proposal, that is when changing electric field will also create a magnetic field, that is also acceptable. And here also he said that the direction of the magnetic field will be perpendicular to the direction of the electric field. So, next we move on to some of the things that we need to know about the electromagnetic waves. And when the Maxwell's is discovered this proposal, is it is during this in 1964 he presented a theory which combined both of these effects into one entity called electromagnetic wave. That is what he had proposed, that is the nature of electric field and magnetic field that he considered, and by changing the electric field we can able to create a magnetic field. That is what the proposal said by the Maxwell's field, and it is called as an electromagnetic, where electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other. And since one field was created by the other, there was no need for a medium in Maxwell's version of electromagnetic theory. So, he proposed the Maxwell's electromagnetic theory, and also we from his proposal that what we understand is from one field, that is from by either electric field or magnetic field, we can able to generate other fields. So, there is no need of any medium to flow pass through it, because it can travel in vacuum also. But whereas like a mechanical wave, like a sound wave, it requires a medium, but electromagnetic waves does not require any type of medium. That is what basic in-depth knowledge of electromagnetic theory that is proposed by Maxwell says. And also, in order to conserve energy, Maxwell calculated that all electromagnetic waves travel at the same wave speed, and also he said that for conserving energy, so we can say that all the electromagnetic wave will have a same speed, that is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second is what the speed of a electromagnetic wave. So far we studied about the nature of electromagnetic waves and how it is produced by two different field, and two different electric field and magnetic field is always perpendicular when we are talking about the electromagnetic waves. Now we can say that the rays or light coming from the sun is also electromagnetic wave, and it is consist of a spectrum, a series of waves will be there in electromagnetic spectrum. This is how it looks in the figure. It shows from the sun, it is how it is penetrates earth atmosphere, and some of the waves it does not enter or penetrates into the earth's atmosphere because of ozone. Some of the electromagnetic waves will not enter into the earth due to the ozone layer present around the earth atmosphere. So, these are the different waves that we can observe in electromagnetic waves, that is radio wave, microwave, infrared wave and visible wave, and also ultraviolet or UV wave, X-ray and gamma ray. So, these are the different waves that we can observe in electromagnetic spectrum, and we can say that why we are distinguished this type of waves in electromagnetic spectrum is all these waves will have different wavelength that is measured in meters, that is radio wave will be 10 power 3 and similarly microwave will be 10 power minus 2 meter. Like that, the wavelength of the different waves that lies in electromagnetic spectrum will be having different wavelength, and also we can also distinguish this by about the size of the wave. The wave size will be for different type of electromagnetic wave, that is about we can say the radio wave will be always bigger, it can up to be a building size, and also the microwave which will be having of a human size, and also we can say like this we have distinguished for different waves. If it is visible wave, it is like we can say it will be false for protozoan size, and also this visible waves are what we are able to see is called as a visible wave, that is what is named as visible waves. And also this type of waves will falls under different frequencies in this frequency spectrum, like radio wave will be fall in between always 10 power 4 to 10 power 8 frequency hertz will be there, this frequency of radio will be having 10 power 4 to 10 power 8 hertz for the radio waves, and similarly it will vary for different waves. And when it is comes to X-ray, it is 10 power 18 to 10 power 20. If it lies in between this frequency, we can say that type of wave is an X-ray. And also when we are speaking about the temperature of bodies emitting the wavelength, in the sense of what type of bodies that can emit the radio waves or microwaves, it depends on the temperature of the body also. So, this will be having the radio waves will be produced when 1 K will be the temperature, 1 Kelvin will be the temperature, and similarly it will be having different temperature for different waves. So, these are the different electromagnetic spectrum having different waves, and always we consider the visible wave is what the human can be, it will be visible for human eye. So, next we move on to electromagnetic waves properties. So far we studied about how the electromagnetic wave will be formed. It is a perpendicular of electric field and as well as magnetic field, and is called as an electromagnetic wave, and it is travel in a vacuum also. So, it should not require any medium, that is why it is a special compared to other kind of, that is mechanical wave. So, they can be created in and move through a vacuum is what the important property that we come across by studying electromagnetic waves. And also no medium is required for an electromagnetic wave to exist. So, it can be created, also it can be traveled in through vacuum, and also there is no medium should be required for this type of waves. And also EM waves are the only wave phenomena that can exist without a medium. So, we can by studying the properties and nature of the electromagnetic waves, this is the only type of wave that should not that do not require any type of medium to travel. So, by this figure we can observe how the electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other. In this picture we can observe this electric field, with this represent the electric field, the pink color waves which represent the electric field, and these are the direction of flux will be there. These are the flux, can say electric field lines will be there. These are magnetic field lines, represent magnetic field lines, and both this electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other, and the direction of the travel is represented here. It is always represent in this direction. So, this is how the electromagnetic wave will be, and how this will be moving is represented like this. And also we know that it is the electromagnetic wave will be having a speed, that is it can travel with a speed of 3 into 10 power minus 10 to the power of 8 meter per second in a vacuum. So, next we move on to another topic, that is we must know when we are going to derive some of the Maxwell's equation, this is required for us. So, vector and scalar. So, the term scalar refers to a quantity whose value may be represented by a single real number, or also I can say the scalar is a quantity which is having only magnitude. Those kind of quantities we can say as a scalar quantities. So, if we speak of a body that is body falling a distance L in a time t is, if we consider this example, or the temperature T at any point in a bowl of soup, coordinates will be x, y and z. So, these are the three different quantities for a falling body, and coordinates x, y, z will be three different quantities for a soup, which will be a soup temperature, that is which will be a real number, that is only the magnitude can be there for that. So, this is represent this L, T and T x y represent, and z x y and z represent the scalars. Those all the quantities will be represented as scalars. So, in other the other examples that we can consider for a scalar is mass, density, pressure. No, force is not considered. I will come to speak about the force in next points. So, volume is also fall under scalar, which is having a real number, and also volume, resistivity and voltage. So, next we move on to the vector. The vector will be having a vector is a quantity which is having both magnitude and as well as direction. That is always represented as a vector quantity. We are concerned with 2 and 3 dimensional spaces only, but vectors may be defined in n dimensional. In the n dimensional can be we can represent the vector with n dimensional space, and it is when we are considered which is having more dimensional, it can be represent, we can say we can apply this vectors quantities for advanced applications. And the example for vector quantities force, a velocity, acceleration and a straight line from the positive to the negative terminal of a storage battery, that also represent the vector because it is having both magnitude and negative. When we are speaking about a straight line from the positive to the negative terminal of a storage battery are examples for the vectors. So, we need to know about the dot product and the cross product. Here dot product always represent the scalar quantity. If we consider two vectors A and B which is away from an angle which is having an angle of deviation, that is theta, it can be always represent, that is A dot B is equal to A B cos theta. So, A dot B can also be represented like this if it is having different magnitude, that is product of A B, that is magnitude of sum of all the magnitudes into cos theta, that is angles in which they are lying in between, it is called as dot product. And if A is perpendicular to B, the dot product of A and B is 0. So, whenever A and B are perpendicular to each other, the dot product will be 0. So, the cross product is what we need to know next, that is cross product is a product vector product of two quantities which is always represent, the cross product always represent the vector quantities. If we consider the two quantities which is lying like this A and B, the cross product of different quantities will be like that. If it can be represented in this form like a B2 B3 minus and A3 B2 like this. If it is having different quantities will be there, then we can represent in this form. And also the cross product will be definition says the cross product will be the product of AB sin theta. A sin theta is what the theta is the angle of deviation between two quantities. This can be represented like this. And here if A is parallel to B, whenever we speaks about A, the quantity A is parallel to B, then dot product A is perpendicular to B, then it is equal to, the dot product will be equal to 0. Whereas for cross product which is always represent the vector quantity, when A is parallel to B, it is always equal to 0. So, next these three terms that we need to know after the scalars and vector knowledge, and also the dot product and cross product, that is divergence and gradient and curl, which when we are representing the vector is always represent can be represented in n directions. So, here we consider three direction vector derivatives which is always represent del operator. So, del of this is equal to dou divided by dou x into dou divided by dou y, dou divided by dou z. So, we are consider three dimensional vectors, three directional or three dimensional vectors. So, we have three quantities like x, y and z. So, the which can be represents for the scalar, that is gradient, the gradient of a scalar function which can be also represent for scalar and as well as vector, that is gradient will be equal to del operator of the function, where we are mentions for above del operator, we are mentioning the functions for this for x, y and z coordinates, or we can mention the function for x, y and z coordinates for three dimensions, which gives the gradient of a scalar function as well as a vector function. So, the divergence can be for a scalar can be represented, and also for divergence for a vector also can be represented. So, divergence of a scalar will be always a dot. We know that the dot product of del and function will give the divergence of a scalar, that is represented by dou of f of x, fx divided by dou x plus dou fy by dou y plus dou fx by dou z. And the divergence is always a non-zero if there are sources or sinks will be there. Whenever the sources will be there, we need to consider divergence is non-zero. And here in which if we consider a two-dimensional source, that is a source will be there, source in the sense if we consider it, divergence will be of there will be non-zero divergence. So, x and y is what the two coordinates that we consider, taking it as a 2D source, that is two dimensional source. which is having a large divergence that we can observe. The divergence will be a large here for a two-dimensional source. If we consider in this all the directions, that is in all x and y, in all x and y axis, that we can observe the divergence in this picture with for a source. So, the curl is last part that what we need to learn, that is curl of a vector. So, a function, if we consider f function, that is f vector. So, for this the curl will be always the product of del operator and function. So, always we need to remember, whenever arrow marks is present on top of the function or del, it represents the vector quantity. So, the product and indicates this cross product is also the vector quantity. So, the cross indicates this it is a vector. So, the curl of this is a multiplication of del and function, which gives this that is what the divergence and gradient in combination that going to give the curl, which is having d of f of z minus of dy minus d of dfy divided by dz, dou fx divided by dou z minus dou fz divided by dou x, and dou fy divided by dou x, and dou minus of dou fx divided by dou y. So, this it can also be represented by different variables and different coordinates, that is functions with different coordinates that we are representing, because here we consider the y coordinate and here it is a derivative of z, and here we represent the function f with the z coordinate, and f of dou fz is a derivative of x here, that we are going to differentiate that function with x here, and f function y is which we are considering x coordinator for which is minus of this f of z, x is again differentiated with y. So, this is what the curl vector, which is a combination of divergence and gradient. So, the function that tends to curl around have always a large curls, that is we can represent if it is having two dimensional, if we consider x and y, two dimension, that is a coordinates, that is x and y, which is always having a large curls like this. The around the circle we can observe the curls will be more that we can observe if it is having a two dimensional or two coordinates. So, finally, we come to the end of this session. In this session we are able to study about the electric field and also the magnetic field. So, the ability to exert electric force on other charges by a charge is called as electric field, and also the ability to exert force on other charge is represent as a magnetic field, and both magnetic field and electric field constitute the wave, that is electromagnetic wave. When the electric field and magnetic field are perpendicular to each other, when the charge is oscillated in such a way that if it travels in a regular, which is having a regular period, then it is going to produce electromagnetic wave. In electromagnetic wave, electric field and magnetic fields both are perpendicular in nature, and Faraday's law says this: a changing magnetic field will create a electric field, and also Maxwell's proposals is quite opposite to that, that is changing electric field will create a magnetic field. So, both of it will going to create one field in each. So, if we consider by a magnetic field we can able to create electric field, and from electric field we can able to create magnetic field. So, that is how the Maxwell's come up with a proposal, that he said that the electromagnetic wave does not require any medium to travel. So, some of the questions of this session is: define electric field and magnetic field, state Faraday's law, what is scalar and vector quantities. This ends the session. Thank you.